The unraveling security situation in parts of Egypt is drawing new attention to the fight against Islamist extremists in the region. Terror activity has been on the rise in recent weeks in Egypt. Just last week, the country's military fought jihadists affiliated with the Islamic State in the Sinai Peninsula. Islamic State appears to have made small but unprecedented advances in Egypt, killing dozens of soldiers as it attacked multiple military checkpoints and attempted for the first time to control a small pocket of territory in the Sinai Desert. The Egyptian government has retaliated by carrying out helicopter airstrikes and ground operations, and we understand that since July the 1st, 241 Islamists have been killed in villages between Sheikh Zuyed and Rafah, where 4 of their hideouts had been located. Well, we're joined from Cairo by the Voice of America's Edward Yerinian. Edward, thank you very much for joining us again on Network Africa.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure. Now, based on the retaliatory airstrikes which we've seen, and also the statement which was made by the president of Egypt, would you say that relative calm has been restored to Egypt?
I would say that really the situation in Egypt is fairly stable, except for these periodic acts of violence which pretty much pop up out of nowhere. The Egyptian military, retired military officers who comment on the Arabsat channels have said that they believe that this was supported by outside forces. You know, it's very, very easy for them to say that, so you could question it, but I tend to suspect they may be correct.
Well, have you seen any strategies or any structures in place, you know, to actually suggest a boost in security so that we don't see a recurrence of what happened on July the 1st, besides what the airstrikes and the statements being made by the president? Are you seeing any other thing on ground to suggest a boost?
Yes, I mean, they've done an awful lot. Actually, they put police pretty much on every corner here in Cairo. They've got people on the bridge watching, you know, cars going in and going out at the resorts in Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada. They also have the airports pretty well patrolled. They say they put people out on the beaches after those attacks, recent attacks in Tunisia, which killed 38 people. I think they're doing all the right things. In fact, they did the right thing when they were able to kill the attackers down in Luxor a couple weeks ago before they were able to kill any tourists. I don't think that's the problem. I think what their analysts are saying, and they're pretty much correct, is you really can't control a country when you've got your borders infiltrated by people from outside. And I don't think there's any way to stop that, because you have outside forces who are continually trying to provoke trouble, not just here in Egypt, but also in Tunisia. As we've seen in Libya, that's just a perpetual source of woe. And Egypt has a very, very long border with Libya. The Sudanese have in the past been accused by Egypt of trying to send troublemakers and weapons up to the Sinai. I don't think that's really stopped. And the Iranians as well. I think the Israelis blew up what they thought was an Iranian convoy going through Port Sudan a few years ago. So there are a lot of outside forces that are trying to provoke trouble here.
Well, Edward, thank you very much for filling us in on the latest. We will definitely be in touch. The Voice of America's Edward Yerinian reporting from Cairo. Thank you.
My pleasure.